Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Better Leader Podcast. Glad you're joining us today. I want to discuss how when little things become big things. So in your leadership, how attention to small details matters so much. I was recently listening to a book and it was discussing the Bay of Pigs invasion. If you're a history buff, then you would know the Bay of Pigs invasion, there were a lot of things that went wrong. And honestly, there's so many leadership lessons we could learn from this time period in the United States, specifically how the government reacted and interacted within world conflicts at that time. And so in the Bay of Pigs invasion, one of the things that was going on is you really had three groups working together. You had the CIA, who had set up a secret base in Nicaragua. And at this secret base, they were training Cuban exiles. And then you had the U.S. Navy also working within this invasion, and obviously more military than that. But these three groups were working together and were putting together a plan. So mission planners were developing a plan to use the Cuban exiles to create some bombing cover for the raids that were going to be taking place. And this would help to kind of limit maybe the appearance of U.S. involvement in what was going on. However, what these three groups in working together failed to discuss was the time zone difference between Nicaragua and Cuba. Cuba being in Eastern time zone and Nicaragua being in Central time zone. And so what happened is that the bombers left to go and begin these bombing runs with the thought that, hey, we're going to have U.S. air cover from these U.S. naval ships. But what happened is they never took into account the time difference in this 1 hour time difference. So the bombers show up and they have no fighter coverage. And four of the bombers are actually shot down by Cuban planes and Cuban jets. People lost their lives, right? Because they didn't take into account, leadership didn't take into account a simple thing like time zone difference. And so that's an extreme example, right? People's lives were lost. There were things at stake. But it just shows how important little things are. Little things become big things. And I messed this up recently, not at the scale of where someone lost their life, right? But I was helping to lead a service on a campus, and I just didn't check every time we have a service. We always have a service flow. I can access it on my phone. I can see the order of service and what's going on. And so me as a leader, someone who's helping to MC, helping to set the tone of the environment, knowing what's going on, what I do matters because it's going to impact our band. It's going to impact the people who are running audio and visual, all those different things. And so I just didn't check it. There were a lot of details that day, but I just failed to check a simple thing, have a system in place where I always check what's going on. I just didn't do it. And what happened is I went up an entire song too early to MC. And when I got up there, my mic was not on because our sound operator was looking and working with the band, paying attention to that mix. So I threw them off. I threw the band off, and I messed up the whole service. Why? Because I didn't pay attention to a simple detail. And little things become big things. Back whenever I was coaching football, one of the things that we worked on all of the time was kind of a freeze play. We needed to be able to get up to the line of scrimmage and be able to fake the cadence in order to try and get the defense to jump off sides. This is pretty common in football, right? But we needed that. And when we needed to do it well, we really needed to do it well. Maybe it was I needed more time to think about, hey, what's our next play going to be? Maybe it was 3rd and 2, and if they jumped off sides, we'd get a first down. So we practiced this little thing all of the time. And because we paid attention to it, we didn't mess it up. We often, a lot of times in high school athletics, you'll see teams mess this up. One person on the offense will go. And I think that's because it's often overlooked within practice. We practiced as well going on a silent count, being able to snap the ball without going into a cadence at all. And this catches the defense off guard as we've been going through a kind of a similar cadence for the rest of the game. And so I say those examples to say that little things aren't really that important until they are really important. And so these little things can make a big difference. So I don't know what area you lead in. I don't know if you're in the nonprofit world, the business world, if you're a coach, if you're a teacher. Little things will become big things if you don't pay attention to them. And so what you need to do is set up a system and a way to remind yourself, man, do I know what's happening? And so for me, one of the things I started doing and that I need to continue to do is before every service. This is kind of obvious. Do I review the service flow so that I, as a leader, know what's going on and I don't derail the whole service and affect everyone who is in attendance? So I don't know what those little things are for you. And maybe it's been a while as you get to leading more, right? Or you've been in one area longer, we get cursed by our competence, right? We know what we know and we expect everyone else to know all the details that we know. When was the last time you sat down and you thought about, man, what are those little details that I just assume everyone else knows? Or what are those little details where if this went wrong, it would drastically impact the things that we do? That story, during the Bay of Pigs invasion was a pretty drastic example of how little things can become big things. I also want to talk today really about something that I've kind of been learning personally, and that is that doing good work and leading are two different things. Doing good work and leading are two different things. I've been in this season where I feel like, man, I feel pretty positive about some of the work that I've actually got to sit down and I've actually got to accomplish. But I kind of been convicted over the last week or so, the last couple of weeks of like, hey, I've been doing a lot of work. I've been working really hard, but have I been leading well? Because work is really just a component of leadership. What is leadership? Leadership is influence, right? And so my work can help to influence and should influence other people. My work ethic, the things that I'm doing, how efficiently I'm working, all of those things matter, but it's just a component of leadership. And as I sat down, what I really felt convicted about was, man, I think I've missed the people aspect of it. I think I've missed, pouring into and investing in my team. Yes, I've been working well, but have I been leading the people around me well? And so a couple of questions to ask yourself, 3 questions to ask yourself. The first one is this, what are you telling your team? Are you telling them thank you? And not just a generic like, hey, thanks, you're working hard. But are you literally sitting down with people who you're working with? And are you telling them the things that they're doing really, really well? Are you diving into them and diving in and praising them for the things that are going well? Are you investing in them? Are you listening? Are you taking a moment to be able to listen? Man, what do you have going on in your life? How can I help you? What are you wanting to grow in? And I feel like I've missed some of those moments lately because I've been so focused on the work that I missed the leadership portion of it. And your work, you should work in a way and have a work ethic and a work efficiency and a skill that motivates and inspires people, right? You can influence through your work. But it's not the same thing. Leadership is influence. Work is just an umbrella that falls underneath that. You can't miss the relational aspects as well. So the first question you should ask yourself, again, is what are you telling your team? What are you talking to them about? The second thing I would say is this, is if you took your characteristics that are most prominent, if you took the way that you've been acting over the last month, last 6 months, last year, and all of your coworkers, all of the people on your team started to display those characteristics, those tendencies, would it be a good thing for your organization? Would it be a positive thing for your organization? Right? Would you be in a better place today because of that? So if you looked at your characteristics, your traits, right? If your personality was multiplied, would that be a good thing for your organization? And the third thing I would ask you is this, it's hard for me. I love to work. I actually love the work that I get to do. I love accomplishing tasks, and I love sitting down and being able to check things off the list and look at what's been accomplished, right? But am I setting up systems? Am I training other people to where work is happening even if I'm not present? Am I leading in a way where I'm helping to multiply even the actual work that I'm doing and accomplishing? Am I setting up systems? Am I training other people up so that the work is actually multiplied? And so work is different. It's a component. It's a kind of a sub point of what leadership is really all about, which is influence. And so ask yourselves those questions. I want to talk specifically to guys right now, is that I see so often that men are doing a good job of work, right? They're a workhorse. They're getting stuff done, but they're in their own vein. They're in their own thought process. As long as they're getting things done, they're not really worried about all of the other components. And I want to say that that's not really leadership. Leadership outside of relationship, that's maybe leading yourself well. That's a component of it. But if you miss the relational aspects, if you miss the relational component, then you're missing the bigger picture. And that's something that I've really reflected on lately is, man, I'm doing good work, but am I leaning into the relational aspect? Because it's people who are going to multiply what you're doing. If you're going to accomplish big vision, big dreams, all the goals that you have, it's going to take people alongside of you. And that thought has just stuck in my mind. If I was multiplied, if my personality traits, good, bad, are multiplied, are played out in other people, is our organization going to be in a better spot because of that? And it doesn't matter what area you're leading in. That's a great thing to sit down and to consider and to remember. And so I hope that encourages you. Those are little takeaways, right? That little things become big things, and that work is different than leading. And if you apply those things, I believe that the people around you are going to be better because of it. I want to thank you for joining us today. We'll catch you next time.